What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we're going to talk about a topic that I featured a lot in my videos actually, and it's hammer rerolls. I was mostly quite annoyed by it because, well, I have to reroll those X tier heroes and those are horrible, especially this IHP has been torturing me for a while, trying to get that burn immunity together with good stats, and well, I've recently talked a little bit to Snow, and if you remember, Snow made the website, also made the video about it, about the awakening simulator, where you could simulate awakenings and get to see whether or not you might get an A tier and try to see in advance what your results for an awakening session will be. Very, very great website, absolutely recommend you check that out. We also have a video on that on the channel, so you can easily find that. That is one thing. But quite recently, he has shown me his next project. And his next project was supposed to be hammer rerolls. And he showed me the website, looked absolutely great. We're going to see it in a second. And I tested it. I was like, Snow, that feels wrong. And he says, well, I have based it on the information DH has given us, which was every single stat that is in the game has the same odds to appear. So Giant Killer, for example, is not any rarer than skill damage. That was the stance that DH took. And I was like, well, in my testing, it never really felt that way. And we will make very clear in this video that this was a lie by DH. Obviously, it just was a lie. They don't feature the odds for this in-game. This might be illegal in some countries even, considering we have a paid item here to reroll. So that is another issue on that. I won't really go into depth on that because that really depends on the country where you're at. But I really think it's disingenuous and it's quite annoying, honestly, because it really, really sucks. So I'm going to focus on X tier as an example because it makes it blatantly clear. And in X tier, we have a total of 39 possible stats. And quite a lot of those stats are immunities. In fact, right here of the stats that we have a total of 10 different control immunities. So I just split this up here in this Excel sheet. I hope you didn't get flashbanged too much. So the blue ones are X tier exclusive stats, the yellow ones are S tier exclusive stats, then the red ones A tier, B tier, and then we have the C tier stuff, so the stuff that can appear on any copy. Of the total stats that you can get at X tier, 10 of which are CC immunities. So 10 out of 39 possible stats are CC immunity, and you can see those over here: stun immunity, freeze immunity, silence immunity, petrify, twine, fear, taunt, desert, seal of light, and immune to shapeshifting. So basically for any single CC, there is an immunity. And then we also have on X tier 3 different damage over time immunities: burn, bleed, and poison. So those basically make a 13th of the possible stats. And the chase one is, of course, the burn immunity. That is the one that we are after. And testing this in-game, it kind of feels weird. And I want to show it to you guys. So keep in mind, we had 39 possible stats. We had 10 CC immunities. We had 3 dot immunities, meaning a third of our pool of stats is immunities. It's some form of immunity. Burn, it is CC, whatever kind of immunity it is. We roll 5 stats in here, so every time we click, we draw 5 from this pool. If every single stat has the same likelihood to appear, it would be rather likely that we get some kind of immunity, whether it was a damage over time or a CC immunity, with every single roll, because it has a third ought to be one of the skills. So then we have 5 draws on top of that. So rather likely that we get an immunity. Let's see how it turns out. So first one, no immunity at all, Giant Killer and Hunter's Focus. Okay, might happen. Then we have the next one, Giant Killer, Hunter's Focus, Faction Rule, no immunity again, neither damage over time immunity nor a CC immunity. Ship Crusher Body Protection, we have an X tier stat here, but no immunity again. That is our third roll. Now we get the first one, it's actually bleed immunity. So it took us now 4 rolls to get there, which is 20 stats drawn. That is already kind of weird. Let's continue. Again, no immunity. And one more time, no immunity. And I mean, I just randomly roll here. It's no immunity again. It's Ship Crusher Hunter's Focus, which is fancy in itself considering both are S tier stats. No immunity. No immunity. Desperate Momentum and Pure Flow. And no immunity again. A third of the stat pool. That is our first time getting a CC immunity, and I think we did 11 hammers right now. That's the first CC immunity. 10 out of 39 stats that we can get are CC immunities. So that is weird. But then Snow, and then I want to show you the comparison, and which is really, really insane, of Snow's website. Because Snow made the website where really every single stat has the same odds. So this is Snow's website. Very, very easy design. I like it. You can just select which kind of copy you have. We, of course, want to go for X tier. Makes this a little bit fancy. And you just have 3 buttons. You can use a hammer, you can keep the stats to record a roll, or you can reset hammers. And in this, every single stat, all of the 39 stats have the same odds to appear. And I want you to kind of try and see the difference. So let's use a hammer. Our first roll is Petrifying Immunity, Burn Immunity, Pure Flows, and Silence Immunity. So we got a double CC immunity and a dot immunity together with Pure Flow. Let's do another one. Dazzle immunity in this one, got the fire in there. Next one, Twine immunity. Next one, we got Dazzle immunity again. And we got Reduce Dot, Receive, Control immunity. And we got no immunity on this. No immunity, look at that, insane. Seal of Light immunity, Pure Flow. And do you notice how different those rolls look? How much more common some stats are? I mean, not only the immunities, we got a double immunity here. We got a triple immunity here. I don't want to say I like this. I just want to make that clear. I don't necessarily want immunities to appear that often. I don't necessarily want my rolls to be all immunities. In general, that would make it even harder to roll for X tier because you don't even want to get the S tier immunities. Just gonna go for Pure Flow, maybe you go for 1 immunity, but that's about it. But nonetheless, you can see how much more often this stuff appears, how much more likely it is for us. Look at that, Poison and Bleed immunity. I've never gotten 2 dot immunities. Never. We got 1,000 hammers on that IHP copy. We never got the double damage over time immunity. It seems to be impossible. And just keep in mind how rare triple immunities are on the market. Like I had one and it was considered to be crazy. Double immunities are rare. Triple immunities, that is something we don't even need to talk about. It's like so ridiculously rare. And it just really doesn't make sense. And I will put you this website down below. It doesn't have the right odds at the moment. We're probably, hopefully, going to get the right odds. No, hopefully going to get the right odds. We don't have them right now. So what did DH do? Well, I don't know. I can't really tell you. There are multiple different options for them, what they might have done. My initial idea of what they could have done was that I thought maybe they just went ahead and grouped some stats together. Let's say, for example, they went ahead and they grouped all the CC immunities together. So there isn't like, in their rolls, it might have the same odds as anything else, but they grouped those together and just made one immunity. And when you roll that, it rolls for one of the immunities right after. That would make those a lot rarer, because now not 10 out of 39 stats are CC immunities, but now you would have less stats. You would have 10 less stats, 9 less stats. So it would be 30 stats, and 1 out of 30 is immunities. And then it would only randomly roll which one it really is in the end. And maybe they've done that for some stats. Maybe they grouped them together by the unlocking threshold, like we had on the Excel sheet, where they said, okay, what about X tier stats? But I see multiple X tier stats combined. I see something like Desperate Momentum, Body Protection, Pure Flow. I wouldn't really say that this is super rare. What is really rare is like multiple immunities on one copy. You don't find that too often. You don't find quad immunities. I was looking for that. I was looking for a quad immunity. I haven't seen one yet. And it makes sense for immunities to be so rare if they were all grouped up together. If it's a 1 in 30 initially to get an immunity, and then a 1 in 30 again, and then a 1 in 30 again, that kind of gives you an idea how rare that would be. But also for the same for Burn and Bleed and Poison immunity. If 3 of the 39 stats in total that exist, so 1 in 13, is any of those immunities, well, you would kind of expect those to appear way more often, as we saw in Snow's random generator there. But they just don't. it continues to be a 1 in 60. You get rolls like this, Defy Giant Killer Pure Flow, which is a cool roll, by the way. But getting Burn Immunity stacked on top of like some of the other X tier stats has proven to be super, super difficult. And in so many ways, I no longer really believe in the stats that the H gave us. They didn't put them in game. They just gave them to us, well, in a support ticket and said everything has the same odds, which right now I don't believe. At least I think there is some grouping. Maybe all the stats have the same odds, but then there is a grouping for the immunities, and it turns out that specifically Twine immunity has a lower rarity than in total, or that getting a specific immunity is really hard, which also is. I recently used like 90 hammers to get Seal of Light immunity, just a random Seal of Light immunity, and I think we're now at the point, and that is really the focus point of this entire video, where first of all, I want the H to come clear with those odds. I no longer want them to claim that everything has the same odds. We have sufficiently proven in this video that this is not the case, that not every single immunity has the same odds to appear, or the same, that Twine immunity, for example, is not as likely to appear as Precision. We've sufficiently proven that in this video. And I want them to come clear about this. I want them to explain how this really works. I want them to change up the system too. I no longer want to go and sit there and I'm personally expecting right now, right here, to get like 2 burn immunity rolls in those 150 hammers, and I expect them to be rather bad. So I no longer want to sit here. I want to go like 10 hammers and then get 1 stat guaranteed. Like where I can just say, okay, I want to get burn immunity. When I roll 10 hammers, I get 1 roll with burn immunity. Something like this. And do the same for GK. That does not have to be like an X tier thing. Make it so that people can spend like 10 hammers and have their guaranteed roll with GK. And then that is good. I don't think that will harm the market very much. So it is so impossible to reroll those X tier heroes anyway. It takes so long if you want to get 5 specific stats, and your hidden odds don't make it any better. So definitely something that I want to see in the game. Tell me down in the comments what you think about the rerolls. Do you have experiences with it? Do you think it sucks? Do you think it's good? Tell me all of that. I think it depends a lot also on whether or not you have like a ton of copies. I think for Wales the situation is a little bit worse than for free-to-plays. If you have 1 single copy, you kind of have a lot of hammers already. At least if you are a low spender, at least that you spend some CSG, I guess. So, other than that, I wish you guys a great day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the Discord link in the description too to check out SG Hub and get yourself some cheap starry gems. And other than that, I just wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.